It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for The Last of Us on HBO. On this video, I'm here to share some exciting news about filming that they're doing for the Season 1 finale. They're actually filming for the final episode at a hospital, which is definitely interesting because it definitely sort of confirms to an extent that they are filming the Fireflies lab or hospital sequence from the final chapter of Game 1, which is definitely interesting. This also does connect to something else that they were doing a few weeks ago, which we're going to talk about. But stay tuned, we'll be back to break it all down, and I'm going to explain what I think they're doing as far as the story that's going to bookend the first season. Alright, as always, before we jump into this, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. Also, you have to bear with me with this voice for a little bit because I do have a cold. One final thing, if you've been following the channel, you know this, but they have been filming the majority of The Last of Us in Calgary, Alberta, which is the city that I live in. I've been able to visit several times in the past. I've gathered a lot of photos and clips from some filming that they've been doing. So if you're interested in any of those, definitely go check out the other videos on the channel. But the filming that they're going to be doing for the finale is actually in Grande Prairie, Alberta. So obviously I wasn't able to capture any of the photos that we're going to look at, but I will leave a link to all of my sources down below so you can go and check it out. So like you see here, this is the hospital that they're filming at for the final episode. I just read somewhere that today is actually the final day of them filming, so they're pretty much done with filming of Season 1, which is definitely exciting. But going back to the pictures, this is actually a functional hospital, but there are no patients in there, so we can see that this is treated as the Fireflies lab, or what I like to call the hospital sequence from the final chapter of the first video game. We can see another shot here. Not too much to say. I mean, it looks like a regular hospital, obviously. But there are some other interesting photos that were gathered right here. So we can see in the photo above, there's a lot of clothes, which I'm assuming are going to be costumes that the cast are going to be wearing. There's some military gear on the left as well, which I'm assuming is what the Fireflies military personnel are going to be wearing. So that's pretty awesome. Some doctors and nurses gowns as well. And obviously there is a printer that has blood all over it. It reminds me of a lot of the scenes where they had to block the doorway so that people can't get in. So that's probably what they're going to be using that for. There's also some sort of an ammunition box or maybe explosives. I don't know for sure, but that's also cool. But that's pretty much everything. I mean, these are the photos. Not much, but way more than I thought we're going to get. But this may actually connect to something else that we were talking about in the past. They were actually decorating the entrance of a building in downtown Calgary a few weeks ago, and it was heavily speculated that this was going to be the St. Mary's Hospital. There was a lot of Fedra signs and logos on the building, which matches up because the Fireflies lab used to belong to the Fedra earlier on. What I think is probably happening is they're going to be using that for exterior shots of the St. Mary's Hospital, and they're going to be using the hospital that they've been filming at in the last few weeks for interior shots. Now the big question is, are they going to finish the entire game in Season 1? Before I even talk about that, I think there is a possibility that they might be rushing the story. I mean, to get through all of the first game's story in Season 1, which is like 10 episodes, is definitely concerning. It seems like they might be rushing the story quite a bit, even though there's been a lot of signs that they're adding in some story to the main story as well. Some things that are original to the TV adaptation, like the backstory for the hunters, as an example. It doesn't seem like they're letting the story breathe and have the time that it needs, because it's just way too much material that they have for Season 1. I'm gonna go into this with a level of expectation in terms of it'll probably be rushed, but let's see what happens. You know what I mean? There's a possibility that it might not happen, even if they do the entire game in season 1, but I think it's looking more and more like it will be rushed to an extent. However, I don't think they're gonna put the entire final chapter of the first game in season 1. I think they're probably gonna end it with a cliffhanger at the end of season 1. Now, we obviously know how this connects to game 2, so I think it'll work very well if they leave it out as a cliffhanger and then come back to it in season 2. Especially if season 2 is gonna have a lot of the elements and stories of the second game in it. But the other part of it obviously is that there has to be a time jump, because Ellie is much older in the second game than she is in the first game. So that makes things a little complicated, which may make it easier for them to kind of finish the first game in season 1 and then wait a few years for the actress that plays Ellie to get older and then start filming for the second season, which is going to be the second game. But I think story-wise, it'll be better and more impactful if they leave out with a cliffhanger around this time in the game at the surgery room. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to share in this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.